Hello Aries friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my video, Aries September 2020 Must Knows. We are going to talk about many things very specific to September in this video, but I'm also going to talk about some must knows for Aries for the rest of the year and moving forward into 2021, because this month is sort of a pivotal piece as far as a sequence that is in play and that has been in play for Aries placements. You might not be surprised to hear that the planets have been seriously hazing you for a long time, and me too, because I have Aries rising, okay? So as soon as Saturn got into Capricorn, which was at the end of 2017, it started squaring, making a very difficult pressure angle to all of your Aries placements. Now, when you add into the picture that Pluto, the planet of transformation and destruction and death and birth and regeneration, has been in a difficult angle for Aries since 2008, then once we got to the end of 2017, Saturn joined that challenging configuration. Then at the end of 2019, Jupiter joined that challenging configuration. So we've had, over this last year, 3 planets that have been making very difficult lessons, very difficult experiences, a massive amount of pressure, a massive amount of stress for Aries placements. So the first thing that is a must know for you is that 2 out of those 3 planets that have been hazing us are going to get out of that configuration as of December. Okay, so this is something to celebrate for Aries placements in such a big way. And it's really important to understand this now, because Mars going into retrograde, Mars is our ruler, and it's going to bring up some things that really have to be dealt with. That some of it can be a little bit hard, some of it can be very easy, and I'm going to explain to you how that can be easy. But for many of you, this is going to be a last push and some relief will finally start coming, okay? So I can't speak for each person because every person's chart has some personal factors that we can't take into consideration in the general horoscope chart. But I can say that there will be a massive amount of people with Aries placements who are going to start to feel a massive amount of relief and release. The closer we get to December, you might start tasting it, seeing the flavor of it, and and seeing pieces of it gelling. Even now, as I'm recording this in July, you might kind of see certain things falling in place and getting worked out that give you some hope for the future. Another must know for Aries in September is that Jupiter goes direct. This is very exciting because Jupiter rules fellow fire sign of Sagittarius. And Jupiter also rules optimism and good luck and expansion. And so since it went retrograde in May, a lot of things that may have been moving along for Aries placements might have shut down. And quite literally, really the world shut down at that time. And it's not just because Jupiter went retrograde, but there is a piece of that. So for some people, Jupiter just going direct in September is really going to restore the optimism. Part of it might be a layer of this issue that I'm telling you about, with so much stress and pressure and things starting to release. There's a very good chance that things that you've worked really hard on, Aries placements, you all have had to work very, very hard in recent years, because Saturn, the taskmaster, plus Jupiter and Pluto being in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn, which is the energy of task mastering, has been making you have your nose to the grindstone. And for many of you, it is going to pay off in a big way, and September could be a piece of that. And the reason is because as the personal planets, in this case the Sun and Mercury, move through Virgo, as happens every year around this time, this energy, which usually would kind of get you nice and organized, which will also be the case, get you on task, rein in any excess from the planets having been in Leo in the previous time in August and the end of July. Usually that would be happening, but that's a more superficial placement. But the fact that these Virgo placements are going to be locking in to a trine, which is a 120-degree angle, which is the most favorable aspect in all of astrology, means, and that's in a trine with these Capricorn planets, okay? So the Capricorn planets that have been hazing us have, and you, Aries people, and that's Moon in Aries, Sun in Aries, Rising Aries, and really any Aries placements you have, Venus in Aries, Mars in Aries, any Aries placements you have will have been going through this process. And all Aries have been going through it. But those of you in the late middle to middle, like we'll say around April 5th, 6th, 7th, through the rest of the sign, or like 16, 17 degrees through the rest of the sign, through 29 degrees. It's been extra heavy in this period of time, this year, for you all in that configuration. Ones in the Aries placements in the earlier placements have gone through a lot of the exact connections already. And so you might be starting to see some things gel even in a quicker way at this point compared to everyone at the end, okay? And not just the end, it's like the second half of Aries, basically. So it's half of Aries placements. So things that had been hazing you, things that have been a problem, things that have been difficult, things that you've been working on. This month, there are 6 trines with Mercury and the Sun kissing Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in this configuration. And that can bring major blessings, and it could mark a turnaround point for this storyline for you, okay? So I really, really hope that that happens for as many of you as possible. That's very important to note. Saturn is also waking up. Okay, Saturn, I said Jupiter was waking up, meaning they're turning from retrograde to direct. And so September is this like kind of a nice restful bubble in a way. Not to say it doesn't have its things that are going to be annoying, because they're there too, and we'll talk about them. But this other stuff is more important and more superseding. So September is this little rest bubble in between the eclipse hot times. All right, so June, July, and August were really ripe with eclipses. And that's another piece that has been difficult for Aries over these last couple of years. Since the middle of 2018, the Capricorn Cancer eclipse cycles that just completed this summer or winter for you all down under, they were quite horrendous for many Aries placements. And many Aries placements, including myself, have had to say goodbye to people and to things that we did not want to say goodbye to, and had stressors that were really, really testing resilience. But now in September, the heat of that, the integration of that whole cycle is starting to ease up. And we're not yet in the next eclipse cycle, which, by the way, a reminder, the Gemini Sagittarius eclipse cycle, which is at play now and will be getting hot, very hot for October, November, December, that will be better for Aries placements because they make nice aspects for you all. Okay, so that's another thing that's kind of adding some promise and some things to look forward to here. But they still can bring intensities, and September is a time when we're not really in that intense time yet. Plus, a lot of the ruckuses that we've been going through together, humanity has been experiencing through COVID, through the breakdowns of the systems and all of the healthcare and business and global systems and all kinds of other systems being tested. That, I believe, a lot of it has been sourced through the conjunctions, the connections between the Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto in Capricorn. If you want to learn more about this, if you're interested to understand how astrology explains these major events we're going through, search for Annie Botticelli coronavirus, and it will bring up my video, How Astrology Explains This and the Breakdowns of the Systems. And it might actually blow your mind to watch this video. It's long, but it's so detailed with explanations of understanding what happened, what we're supposed to be learning, what the opportunities are, and what comes next. But in any case, since the end of 2019 through basically August, the end of July, August, we've been having a succession of interactions between Jupiter and Saturn and Pluto that have been at the root of the ruckus. So now that Jupiter and Saturn are direct, they're not yet making the final aspects that will close out some chapters that have been in process. So it's like, again, like a little bubble where you can kind of catch your breath, get some clarity, and, have some moments in between these hot spots. Okay, so let's talk about Mars retrograde. Mars retrograde has a keynote or keynotes of anger and frustration. And that can especially be for Aries people because Mars is our ruler, because Aries people want to just move forward. It's a cardinal sign. It initiates. It moves in a straight line. And I know this, even just physically, like once you start moving your physical body forward, sometimes you can't actually stop that momentum. It's like a force that becomes its own force that you almost don't have any say in. Like if you're walking and someone walks in front of you and you bump into them, someone might say, oh, that's a rude Aries doing that. And maybe there's some aggression in it sometimes, intentional, but most of the time it's just that your energy moves in such a projectile manner that it can't be stopped, right? So when Mars goes retrograde and it's kind of calling out for some minimizing of goals, minimizing of ambitions, rest, presence, breath, that is not an energy that flows really well if we're trying to continue what we usually do when Mars is direct, which is just go forward. So the key to your happiness in September, now that Mars is officially retrograde, September 9th through November 14th, the shadow period that started building up the energy, started at the end of July, got stronger every day as we moved through August, and are fully in effect September, October, November. And then we'll take a little while to dissipate afterwards, and won't be completely clear until the beginning of 2021, although you'll see good movement moving forward in December for sure. So from now through the whole rest of the year, it's part of your mission and part of the lesson of the stars for you to learn which tree to bark up, basically which things to use your energy for. So if you are trying to do something and it's only creating frustration and aggravation, stop, take a breath, reevaluate. If it's something that really has to be done, some, exercise, meditation, something before you just keep forcing may help to break the energy a little bit. And some of the things you're trying to force may not actually need to be done. And that's part of the lesson, okay? So really discerning what has to be done. Saying no to some extra projects if you're feeling stressed, or if you don't think you can manage them, or if they're too high, like deadlines and high stress, you might become more lazy and you might have less ambitions. And this might be a super amazing thing for you because it's a time to take a break from yourself, right? Those parts of yourself that can exhaust you. So as an Aries rising who understands Mars retrograde very well now, I can't wait for Mars to go retrograde, because I have a license to relax and a license to just kind of not say yes to everything, and a license to just not keep piling ambitions and goals upon ambitions and goals. So I do have more information about this that could be helpful. If you search for Annie Botticelli Mars retrograde, or if you click under this video more and then the arrow, it will reveal the links to my blog and my video on the topic. And especially since it's your ruling sign, it would be really helpful to understand this more. And in December, my book Planetology, which has a lot of information on managing retrogrades, since this is one of my areas of deep focus, we still will have some of the retrograde energies present for Mars in December when my book is officially available, which you can pre-order now. If you just search for Annie Botticelli Planetology, you'll get a nice boost with understanding the retrogrades. So you could really coast at this time if you let that be happening. Anything that you did from previous work, including these trines, gelling things for you, can help you to really coast if you let it be that. It's a great time for vacations. whatever we're allowed to do at that point, you know. It's a great time for staycations and playcations and just kind of taking your foot off the gas for a bit and going into vacation mode, even if you're at home or even if you're just off for the weekend, kind of like changing your input and decreasing your input to have a little bit more peace. It's okay to say yes to things as long as you feel very intuitively inclined to follow through with them, or as long as they're casual and flexible arrangements. You can say yes all you want to casual and flexible arrangements, casual and flexible courses of study that are go at your own pace. Anything that allows you to flow with your natural rhythm is going to be really well indicated for this time, because if you start to get lazy, then you can just stop and go back to it whenever you feel like it. Okay, so hopefully Jupiter going direct will return this optimism, return the expansion, and particularly for your career and your work, you're going to see things start to speed up in those areas. Now, this is very likely going to happen even with Mars going retrograde. And the reason is because Jupiter and Saturn are bigger and more energetically powerful than Mars is. So with Mars and Saturn really highlighting your house of work and career, and this is true for all early, middle, and late degree Aries placements. Because of the late degree of everything going on, even in those middle and later degree charts where things get pushed back a little bit, it's still, everybody still has this energy in the 10th house. So things may very well start to speed up and steam up, things that had kind of like fallen into the backdrop in your work and your career, in employment, in things with your father or father figures, anything having to do with your life purpose or getting on track with feeling like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in your life. You know, people who don't have jobs or who don't care about careers, this energy really can show up in a way of your life purpose and your place out in the world. And that could be a huge feature of like, what are you doing with your life? What should you be doing with your life? What's your dharma? What's your purpose? And those type of things can move forward in a big way in the month of September. So that's going to be very exciting. The key is to kind of just let the things that are going to wake up and move forward, and then you just tag along, right? Aries energy isn't really a tagging along type of energy. We're leaders. We just are like out there and we are out in the front because we're projectiled out and we just kind of do everything, and whoever's following us, that's fine. But this period of time is going to be better for you if you just sort of watch the things that come to you that need to be done, rather than you conjuring and deciding, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and just, you know, following the flow of what's being presented to you rather than making mischief for yourself. Okay, so Mars is going retrograde in the sign of Aries, which means that that's your sign, which means that this whole time of the retrograde is going to be bumping back and forth over any of your Aries placements. Any issues with anger that you have are going to have an opportunity to be healed, okay? That doesn't mean that after this Mars retrograde cycle that you will never get angry again and you'll never get aggravated and frustrated, because that is something that is common with Aries placements just because of how energy moves through us. But some of the deeper anger, some of the deeper resentments, anything even with your liver that is stifled and that has to get moving, things like that are going to come up in a big way. But if you greet them as opportunities to see what's in there that's causing you to have less happiness than you can, and less joy, and causing any conflict in your relationships, and causing some aggressive or passive aggressive behavior that could be interfering with some intimacy or other things that you want, those things are going to come up. And this month, just like in August, Mars is in Aries in August, Mars is in Aries in September, and in both of those months, we also have double the challenging aspects compared to the sweet ones. Now, if you've listened to my August report, you'll know that there are some nasty aspects with Mars in August, and we don't have as much of that like yuck in this month of September. It's more just like nuisance things. But you can take these challenges as an invitation to change your viewpoint. I know that since Aries people are very often right because they see far ahead of the curve, there are some places where your viewpoint might need an adjustment because the way that you're seeing things is causing difficulty for you. If you have a perception that's causing you heartache, it might be time to change those perceptions. And the aspects of August and September, and even for the rest of the year, are very much about kind of challenging your perspectives and seeing where there are places where if you change your mind, you can change your life and have things be easier for you. Okay, something else to know about this month is that we do, besides having these 6 beautiful trines, we do have 6 aspects that are called inconjunct or quincunx, which are as awkward and annoying as they sound. But they are just that. They're kind of nuisances, annoyances. They can cast some doubt. And we had that strong energy in August as well. There is a lot of similarities with the energy of August and September. So there are some themes that start in August that will carry over into this month. And this is one of them. That idea of a baby giraffe being born and being all gangly and awkward and having to get ready to run with the herd. That finding the new normal, finding your footing trend that really got super strong in August is also going to be present in September. And these aspects really kind of bring that alive. So anything that has doubt cast upon it in this month, use it as an opportunity to shore up the places that need shoring up and to maybe throw away some of the things, ideas and ideals that keep casting doubt into your life and help you to have more certainty if you shift things. Okay, something else very exciting to celebrate for Aries placements this month is the water festival is going to end as of the beginning of September. Aries energy, no matter how wonderful and compassionate many Aries placements are, and people who have a lot of Aries placements or even one Aries placement really want to help people. You know, Aries people often get a bad rap of being selfish, and there's a piece of that has some truth, but there's more to it than that. And for most Aries that I know, there is this genuine desire to just like get something done to help somebody, to just like get aggravated with someone because they're making things harder for themselves and you want to help them have a better way. You know, these placements are very inspiring to other people. And that energy of just having that compassion and getting aggravated when you're trying to help somebody and they're not accepting it, you know, is often misunderstood. So, but still, all of that being said, a lot of heavy emotional energies are not ones that go well with Aries placements because all of the water signs make annoying aspects to your placement. And June, July, heavy water placements. August still had more lingering water placements. And then at the beginning of September, we have a Pisces full moon, which is going to be kind of intense energetically, especially for Aries placements because it's in an annoying angle and it's emotional. So what is to celebrate, though, is that after the first couple of days of September, that water festival that we've endured for June, July, August, into the beginning of September is going to be over. Yay! So earth energies, just grounded, practical energies, plus air and fire energies, which fuel your Aries, are going to be very strongly prominent in September. And that is exciting because it has been way too emotional, which is actually part of why I don't have the visuals this month. You know, usually I get the charts involved so you can see a visual of the things I'm talking about to help your education more. But July has been so intense for me and the things that have come up that it's just like I can't even manage the extra time that it takes me in this particular month's horoscopes. But don't worry, I plan for them to come back. But it's just an example of just like how these watery energies affect fire. It has not been easy for fiery people to deal with all of this water, Mercury retrograde in water, the Cancer, eclipse in water, the other planets moving through water have been quite the bummer and quite heavy for us. So we have to celebrate that that's going to be over now. Even at the beginning of the month when we have this Pisces full moon, which may bring up some fears, like some fears that you have, or addictions, or some negative patterning, or some negative thought patterns. It will pass quickly, even no matter how intense it is. There is one aspect that is kind of annoying that can give a jolt with this, but there are other more sweet aspects, some of the ones that I talked about, these trines, that are coinciding with this full moon. And because of that, it can add some good chance that even though there might be some sad or stressed tears at this time, there also can be some happy tears about things gelling for you. One note is that Full moons in water signs can often bring water where it's not supposed to be. So those of you who are in storm areas or flooding areas or anything having to do with like old pipes or leaks or something like that, do some preparedness stuff before this time, just in case something happens, because the odds are increased that water events, water not being where it shouldn't be, are more likely at the beginning of this September. So if you want to have more information about September and the months ahead, always definitely sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. I do a very intense write-up where I look at all of the aspects. I give you the dates of the sweet and salty aspects, the aspects that they are, what you can expect from them. And my September write-up is more detailed even than usual because there are a lot of subtle factors that are going on, and it's quite a bit longer than it usually is. And you get this report delivered to your inbox 1 month early for your planning purposes when you sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. You also get my Shine, my 28-day virtual coaching program access for free when you sign up to be part of my email group, because you get special things as part of my group. Definitely research Mars retrograde. You can see a very comprehensive listing of things that I've created for you if you click on the More button underneath this video with the arrow. You'll see the links to my Mars retrograde video and blog, or you can search for Annie Botticelli Mars retrograde, but it is really important to understand these energies so that you can make the most of them. I've given you a good bit of detail to kind of understand the gist of it, but there are some other things that you can learn from those resources. If you want a written horoscope for your sign 1 month early, then go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. All of these links are in the notes below the video as well. And I do a much more simple, less detailed, but just very straightforward explanation of some aspects that we don't really talk about as much in the videos because they're more superficial, but you will see them. So that's more things that you can check out. And plus I've got a very extensive series of astrology kissed information at cozybysweetstarlight.com. Tea formulas, herbal tea formulas for each sign, yoga for each sign, how to maximize the sun moving through each sign, and plus wellness, other just general wellness blogs at cozybysweetstarlight.com. You can get free courses, including my Unleash Your Money Magnet course, which used to be a paid course, which is now free at my school, Luminous Life Multiversity, at lumelife.com, L-U-M-E, life.com. You can also see my paid courses there, including my Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery course. So if you want to do astrology as your work, or you just want to dive deep and to be able to read charts at higher and higher levels for yourself and your friends and family, you will love this course. It is crazy comprehensive, and you can see that at lumelife.com as well. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.